Peace Shine family, it's Kyle King here again, your lead instructor for Fire Your Boss, Hire Yourself program. We are going to give you guys another bonus lesson. One of my students reached out a few weeks ago and they wanted to know, like, you talk about value, you talk about pricing, you talk about marketing, you talk about all of these different things in terms of partnership, but how do you even realize your value? How do you even know what you're worth? How do you know what to price yourself and all of these different things? So this lesson and the overall objective is to teach you how to realize your value, how to price yourself, how to price your product, your good, or your service, and really be able to break down the steps, the tips, the tricks, like I always say, for you to operate in your value and not operate under your value, right? So let's define value. So by definition, based upon what I have down, value is the regard that something is held to deserve. That something is important, worthy, or usefulness of something, right? So that just really means your value is that what do you deserve to get paid? What is, based upon what you've done, what is the worth of your work? What is the worth? Let's put this down. What is the worth of your work? Whether that is a product, a good, or service, what is the overall worth of these different things of your work, right? So one of the biggest misconceptions and things that we always talk about is value. How do I realize what to price myself? How do I realize how to charge my clients and invoices? And I've seen so many people undervaluing their time, undervaluing their product, undervaluing the service that they're providing for people because they really just what? They haven't run the numbers. At the end of the day, men and women lie, but the numbers don't. The numbers don't. So I want to really be able to teach you, and I really want you to be able to understand that people won't pay you what you're worth. People will pay you what you're willing to negotiate. But the negotiation process, as we've talked about in previous lessons, the negotiation process is challenging, even more challenging if you're not willing to stand up and stand out for what you are worth and that overall value. So let's break it down. Let's give you guys some steps. So step one is the overall concept of demand, right? We understand economics is supply and demand. When supply goes low, the demand gets higher. When the demand is higher, people want more of it, right? Or people maybe want less of it, right? And overall price is determined by demand. If there's a lower demand, the price usually goes up. If there's a higher demand, the price usually goes down, depending on the supply and all of these other economic factors. But one of my mentors told me, don't make demands until you're in demand. You can't make demands until you're in demand. So there's 3 critical steps before we even get to the place of understanding your value. I want you to serve, I want you to learn, and I want you to grow. You serve in order to learn systems. You learn in order to become an expert or gain an expertise. And you grow, let me get that for you. You grow your overall business and brand. You grow your business and brand. You grow your business and brand by the people that you're serving, by you understanding how you're an expert, and then you end up growing your business and your brand presence. That's the 3 steps. But if we think about demand, you can't make demands if you're not in demand. At the end of the day, if you're just starting as a photographer, videographer, you can't go to people, I'm demanding $700 per hour, or I'm demanding $7,000 per shoot, like you're bugging, okay? You need to get out of the mindset that you deserve money. You just started. I don't care if you just bought a camera. I don't care if you just got a new Mac. I don't care if you just started your singing career. What have you done to show, like we said earlier, your importance, your worth? You're deserving of what you have done. I think a lot of people have this misconception because this generation is based upon entitlement, and just because I say this, makes me think I deserve this. That is not true in business. This business isn't your household. This business, you may have gotten everything at home and at college and on that sports team, but when we're talking about business transactions, when we're talking about commerce, when we're talking about sustaining and scalability and all of these different things, I need to know your worth. I need to see previous work. And you can't have previous work if you haven't served, if you haven't learned, and you haven't created this expertise by way of education and by way of serving other people. So I think that is the first step. And step number two, in my opinion, let me get this, is time. And before I even move into time, I want you to understand that once I made 5 figures doing something, one of my mentors told me that, before you release something else, before you release another program, you need to make at least 5 figures, $10,000 or more doing something, right? And then you become essentially a subject matter expert in that field once you make 5 figures. Another thing that I like to use is once you get paid 3 times doing something, you now are you move into the token of continuing to get paid for something. Now you can say this is actually what you do. If you just bought a camera, that doesn't make you a photographer. If you just bought a camera, that doesn't make you a videographer. If you just opened a dance studio, that doesn't make you an expert dance instructor or whatever the case may be. Just because you've been doing something doesn't make you an expert. Once you have continuously been paid over a period of time for something, that will determine if the market feels as if you are an expert or not. The market prices you, you don't price yourself. So, when we think about time, I want to write with my other pen. People aren't paying you, because this is for you right now. People aren't paying you for the time that it takes you to learn something, or for the time that it takes you to do something. People are paying you for the time that it took you to learn how to do that so quickly. I'm gonna break it down. You're not paying me $5,000 to create a curriculum in 30 days. You're paying me $5,000 to be able to account for all of these years spent that gave me the ability to recreate a curriculum in 30 days where other people may need 60, other people may need 90, or you're not paying me 10 grand to flip this around in 14 days. You're not paying me 30 grand to flip this around in 7 days and really be able to bring my team on and be able to turn something around in 7 days. You're not paying me for the length that it takes me, because that's, it's only taking you 2 hours to get this back to me. Why am I paying you? Because you're not paying for, this isn't price per hour. This is times 6 years of educating myself, going to school, getting degrees, getting loans, all these different things. This is what you're paying for. You're paying me back for the time that it spent and the time that it took me to realize this. And it took me years to realize this though, because I was pricing myself per hour and not per years that it took me to even learn how to successfully and efficiently produce a product, good, or a service so quickly, because I'm now just a subject matter expert. So I want you to realize that in terms of realizing your value, you need to think about how much time did it take for me to learn this? Or how long have I been doing this? How long have I been practicing? They don't get paid tens of millions of dollars in the NBA per game. They're getting paid this amount of money per year because of the 30 years that it may take them to get to that high level. People aren't paying for the time that it takes you or for the 40-minute game. They're paying you for the 30 years that it took them to even get to this status or to this high level. So that's step number 2. Step 3, or point 3 really, let me write a different color, is what is the industry price? What is the industry pricing for what you are doing? For that product, that good, or that service, you need to do some R&D, some research and development, and you need to multiply what the industry average is, divide that by the amount of hours that it will take you to do it. Now I'm going to say this. So let's say the industry average is $100 per hour, and it's gonna take me 10 hours to do something, you just figured out your price. But maybe the industry average is based on a master's degree and a bachelor's degree and all these other things. Then maybe bring this number down, maybe to, let's say $69 per hour. Well, say based upon you doing things, you serving, remember at the beginning? Now you know collectively or on average how much time it takes you to be able to do something. So you just take this number and you times about how many ever hours it's going to take you to do that project. Now over time, this price goes up. Now industry averages or industry average may be $400 an hour. And then over time, as you get stronger, and as you get stronger, and as your team develops, you have to now price in all of these different things. If you need a lawyer to create the contract, if you need somebody to market, if you need travel expenses and hotels and all these different things, all of that then needs to be priced into the overall price that you're charging this client or charging this person. If it takes me away from other business operations, now you need to get into the point where you are now adding all of this as a part of the overall invoice price. A lot of times we're just paying for our time that it's going to take to develop. We're not putting in the time that it's going to take for our team or the time that it's going to take us to travel or all of these other different things that you need to be mindful of when you're pricing yourself, your product, your good, or your service. So point number 4 is, I like to say that this is all about confidence, y'all. Like at the end of the day, in poker, there's opportunities for you to go all in, and then there's opportunities for you when you look at your hand, you gotta fold it. You gotta like just back up a little bit. You have to have enough confidence to go all in, and you have to have enough humility and character to fold. What I mean by that is that yes, if everyone is accepting your price, I'm gonna say this. If everyone is accepting your price, that means it's too low. If you're doing $100 gigs, and people are like, oh yeah. Once people start having a little bit of itch, it's like, ooh, that's $250. Once people start telling you, that's too expensive. You start seeing how your value increases, and that's when you know that you're on the right track. You see what I mean? So you have to have the confidence. And knowing that though, you have to have the confidence to stand up and be like, look, I understand that this is your budget, but this is my price. This is my price. You have to have the confidence of going all in. But look, if you're not bringing in those revenues, if you're not in high demand, you have to have the humility to be like, you know what? I'll be able to accept that. But with this, I can be able to not do all of this work as a part of the scope of work. This is what we'll be able to accommodate for this price, for this certain budget. And I think as you're realizing your price and your value, I've worked with a lot of different companies in my experience. Just do good business. Do good business. If you're giving people fair prices, or don't break people's heads, don't break people's banks. If it's based upon industry averages, if it's based upon the true value that you can create, the true workload and the true hours that it's going to take you, if you're doing good business, stick to the scope of work. Now, when you're working with different companies, you want to ensure, and we talk about this in earlier lessons, you want to ensure that you're getting written agreements of the scope of work, of the price. If you're going on a retainer model over a few months, then you want to be able to have everything documented. I would recommend and advise you to get a legal representation to be able to go over everything, because now what if the person comes back and they're not able to pay all of these different funds or this retainer model over time? That's not on you. But as the business owner, sometimes it is on you because you didn't go through the proper processes of getting legal representation, of writing the scope of work, and all of these different things. Now, when you're dealing with people that may do something like this, that come in month 3 of a project that can't pay or do not want to pay anymore, now it's up to you to make a boss decision. Are you going to lower your value and just take it and let them kind of just run your business, or are you going to stand up and say no? Either it's going to be this price, it's either going to be this, or we're just not going to do business together, and you have to be able to professionally shake hands and move your separate ways. When you get to a place of expertise, when you get to a place of experience, when you get to a place of confidence, when you get to a place of true value, you do not fold. You stand up for your business, you stand up for your employees, you stand up for your team, and you do not back down regardless of, I don't care if you're working for Google, I don't care if your consultant is Apple, it doesn't matter if they're a billion-dollar corporation or a multi-million-dollar corporation. It gets to the point with realizing your value where you have to be willing to lose a payment, lose a client, lose a contract to be able to stand for the value of your organization. And the last point, step 6, is that the problem is not your price. The problem is your customer. The problem is not your prices that you're charging. The problem is the customer that you're doing business with. Stop lowering your prices to fulfill your customers' needs. Either get a different demographic or create a product or service with the people that can currently afford what you are worth. That is another thing what people do. When they don't know their value, they're dropping their prices to accommodate what their clients can afford. I'm not dropping prices. This is the value that we create. I am confident in this. We've been paid this already by certain clientele. Just because you cannot afford this doesn't mean that I need to drop it to accommodate your business's needs. Because when you begin to accommodate, people lose sight of the accommodations that you have made for them. They lose sight of what you've truly done for them out of a personal relationship, trying to build a good business relationship, and then they forget, and then they operate without ethics. So what I want you to do to protect yourself from these different things is to either get written agreements and to realize that problem is not your prices. Problem is it's the customers that you're working with, and sometimes you have to say no to certain type of clientele to be able to really keep the integrity of your organization and the integrity of yourself. Realizing your value is challenging. It's taken me years. I was doing free gigs, free speaking engagements, giving out curriculums for free, developing all of these different things, coaching people for free. But what I've learned is what I've learned. And doing all of these different things for free, years of serving, years of coaching for free, years of mentoring for free, year of developing for free, all of this time that has taken me, that's why I am able to charge the premiums and the retainers that I'm able to charge. Because my value matches with my price, and my value matches with the experience and the expertise in which what I do. I am confident in it. My team is confident in it. And that's why we have built one of the #1 national educational enterprises in the country, and why I'm a 4-time best-selling author at the age of what I am. It's not about your products, your goods, or services. It's about you figuring out how you're valuable through learning, through serving, and through growing your business and brand, through aligning yourself with the correct clientele, and then not sitting down, but standing up for what you believe. I look forward to seeing you guys soon.